Hey everybody, it's Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, where I go on a weekend cruise just about every weekend, and I am very excited to, number one, thank you all, but also say we just finished our very first Weekend Cruiser group cruise, say that 10 times fast, on Liberty of the Seas in January of 2022, and we had an amazing time. Now, we had about 20 people come on this sailing with us, and when you put that many people in a group together, you have no idea how things are going to play out because there's a lot of personalities, a lot of people, and it was a really fun time and diverse group of people. I was super excited that everybody really and truly, genuinely got along on this trip. So what I want to do is kind of walk you through what we wound up doing on this group cruise so that if you're looking at coming on a future one, stay tuned for that, you might have some little bit of an idea of what we're going to be doing. And then I'm going to go into what are some lessons learned from this group cruise. This was my very first group cruise, so I used you guys a lot to tell me, how it needed to go, what we needed to do, and I think that it was a success, but I'll walk you through it and then say what I will try to do different next time. So on the first day, our first get-together was at 5 p.m. at the Oliver and Twist up at the Viking Crown Lounge area to kind of give us that mix and mingle, meet and greet situation for everybody. And as soon as I walked in, clearly people recognized me. I've got a very distinctive look, gray hair and all. But they recognized me, came over, and before you knew it, everybody had kind of found the group, which was really cool. They saw what was happening, where to go. And so we sat up on the dance floor area, we moved some chairs together, and we really had a good time just mixing and mingling, getting to know everybody and sharing our stories. This space was not the most ideal in the world, I will say. It did get a little noisy. There are a lot of people up there for sail away because this is the time the ship is leaving the port of Everglades as well. And so there was just a lot of people up there taking in the views and talking, so it was a wee little bit loud. So we actually stayed up there until about 7 p.m. And then I was like, you know what, let's change up the scenery a little bit. That's the great thing about going on a group cruise is you can kind of play it by ear as you want to. And so we went down to Vintages. And so we were a smaller group by this point, so there was probably like 13 people that came with us to Vintages. And it was a really good time down there. Vintages on the right-hand side, I don't know if you all have seen it, but they've got some couches and some really comfortable areas that you can sit if you're in a decent sized group. It's not going to take a group of 50 because then that's like a bar takeover, but it will absolutely accommodate like a 10 to 15 size group with no problem. There was nobody down there and it was very, very quiet. So this was a great spot for us. The next thing that we did was our first dinner at 8:30 in the evening. We all left Vintages at the same time and went to our table at 8:30 in the dining room. And so this was, I really planned on making table card assignments, but never got around to that. You all know that I've had a lot going on this year. And so with that, I just said, hey, sit where you want to, sit beside of somebody you don't know. And we're going to change it up the next day. And everybody sat. We had a great time. Everybody mixed and mingled. And dinner was really, really good. We were on the new menu, so I was asking a lot of people questions on their thoughts around the new menu. And luckily, most people didn't mind the new menu. Some of them missed their classics. But that was the biggest complaint, the food quality and, changing up a little bit. Overall went really well. On day 2, we went to the Nassau, Bahamas cruise port. And this is, one that has grown on me over time. You all know that I have been there many times. And I've even put together a self-guided walking tour. If you haven't seen that, make sure you're checking it out here. But I figured what a better thing than do a real-life self-guided walking tour with the group. So we followed the exact video that was there. And we met at 9 o'clock. We wanted to get out there before it got too terribly hot. And we had a really, really good time. We went at a slow pace. We got to see all the highlights. And this was probably the highlight of the trip because it was really fun. It was really engaging. And we got to actually hang out with just our group off the ship. And it was a lot of fun. After the walking tour was done, we went over to Sharky's, one of my favorite restaurants there because they've got really good, consistent food. And it's normally not too crowded. So we were able to get a table for 10, which was awesome. And we were able to eat there. And then, when we wanted to, we headed back to the ship on a very leisurely pace. From there, we all met up for happy hour drinks at 7 p.m. And this was probably the second favorite thing that we would do, is we always met up for drinks before we went to dinner. And our bar of choice was the R Bar or Champagne Bar on Liberty of the Seas. We really enjoyed that environment. We'd squirrel away in the corner and we could section the seats so that we had our own spot. It was a lot of fun, easy to talk to each other, get to know everybody. And it's right down the hall from where we're going to go into the main dining room for our 8:30 dinner. On day 3, we were in CocoCay, perfect day at CocoCay. And so I knew that most people were going to want to just take it easy and chill out. And so I wanted everything to be optional and feel like, hey, do what you want to do, but if you want to come hang out with me, I'm going to be over in the Alcove at the Oasis Lagoon. So if you look at the pool to the right, that's where I'm going to be at. If you want to just come and hang out starting at 11 in the morning. So I made it over there. We hung out there for probably an hour and a half. And then several of us went over to the Snack Shack, my favorite place to eat, to get the grilled chicken sandwich. If you ask nicely, they will serve that to you. And so we ate, and then I honestly headed back to the ship because I was a little bit tired for this one. And I also knew that we had an upcoming show. So on the Liberty of the Seas, you've got Saturday Night Fever, a fantastic show, but they were showing it at 4:15. The later time actually conflicted with our late dinner, so we had to go to the 4:15 showing while we were still in CocoCay. Odd scheduling, but that's how it worked out. So we all met there at 4:15. And from there, we once again did our happy hour at 7 p.m. at the R Bar or the Champagne Bar, followed by dinner at 8:30. From there, we all said, an until soon, if you will. I never like saying goodbye. I love saying until soon because I dearly hope that I do get to see all of these wonderful people that came on this cruise with me once again, because it was an amazing time, and you could really tell that the group bonded. We've even been using our group chat that we started while we were on the cruise to keep in touch with each other while we have now come back home and gone back to our normal lives. Now, there's 3 key things that I kind of learned or took away from this initial group cruise. The first, make sure where you want to go on your walking tour is gonna be open. So everything was open, luckily, except for the National Bohemian Art Gallery. That was closed because they were doing a full install of a new artist that was coming in. The store was still open, and she was able to direct us to Hillside House, which was another art gallery in Nassau that we were able to go to as a replacement. It was not the same thing, definitely not the same size as the National Art Museum in the Bahamas. But it still was a really good time. I also learned that, you probably want to make reservations where you can for these events. So when we were there were 5 ships in port on this day. That's a lot of folks for Nassau to handle. So if you can, we got really lucky with Sharky's, being able to eat there with 10 people. We had to wait, I think 10 minutes, which was absolutely nothing. The food was amazing. Shout out to the jerk chicken at Sharky's that everybody loved. But going forward, I would love to give these places a call and see if we could get a reservation on where we want to go. I imagine a lot of them don't do it, and that may dictate where we go in the future, but I would love that assurance that when we get there, we're gonna have a table and we're gonna be able to go in. And the third thing, and I probably should have known this one, is to be more specific on the mobility issues of any tours or things off the ship that we do. The walking tour, for instance, is about 4 miles long. So I'd let everybody know that to bring walking shoes, bring sunscreen, bring water. But I failed to mention the Queen's Staircase has a good number of stairs to it. It is uphill, heading past the hospital, going up the steps, and then it's walking outside for a good bit. Luckily, we went at a very slow pace. And so it wasn't that bad for most people on it. I think there were some places where people slowed down a little bit and sped up in others. Overall, it worked out, but I think that I probably should have been a little bit more upfront on what the mobility issues or complications that could come up on the walking tour, depending, and then allow people to decide if that's something they want to do or not, versus getting there and going, didn't know I signed up for this. All right, so that is the first weekend cruise or group cruise. Again, we had an amazing time. I hope that on the next one that we do, announcement coming soon, that you will also be able to join us, because I really do mean it when I end these videos with, this is Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, hoping to see you on a weekend cruise soon. That is genuinely, I would love to meet all of you if I can, and if you can come on board our next group cruise, I would love to meet you there. All right, everybody, this is Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, hoping to see you on a weekend cruise soon.